Well, this is Russ Camerer's Seydel Symphony, which is here for customization and putting on his resonant Kettlewell Resonant Covers. I'm just going to tear this harp down and then later I'll clean it. One thing I'll mention is on these harps, you're not going to get the mouthpiece off unless you lightly loosen the screws, the 4 screws, independent screws that hold the covers on, because it has the screws that come from the bottom, and these covers actually grip and hold this mouthpiece on. So there's no screws on top. We would come down here and take these out. Okay. Why was that as hard as it was to get out? Because it's dirty. The unit was not cleaned on a regular basis, and that would cause the parts to kind of hold on. And the slide was sluggish because it has mouth goop all over it. I always will clean a harp before I'll service it because they're dirty, and I don't want to be touching somebody's mess. You'll see that I took the mouthpiece off the top first. Why? Because that still allows me to have the covers to hold on to the harmonica with. And that's kind of a nice thing. Now, interesting thing on this harp, he has extensive damage to breathsavers. He bought this harp used. The guy said it was in superb condition, that it had not been taken apart, and he basically lied because there is damage to some of the breathsavers, and we can see, for instance, that this one shot, this one shot, that one shot. So that's 3 of them that have been damaged here. And as we take a look at the other side in the same sector, we have 2 that are shot. So I don't see any reason to leave those on there. And let's see if there's any others that are damaged. And the answer is that they aren't. And you might say, well, why are you pulling them off? Well, because I have a brand new breathsaver kit and they're numbered, so I'll know exactly what I want to do. The next thing I'm going to do, and I might as well do it now, is that I want to clean off some of this glue from the reed plate. I don't have enough light on this to do it. I'll need more light. That's always a very important consideration when you're working on a harmonica, is to be sure that you have sufficient light on this system. So I'll use a headlamp. if I can clean it efficiently with a plastic piece, I'll do that, because it does no damage whatever to the reed plate. It won't scratch it, but I do have to make sure that I get all the residue. And you'd be surprised, there's oftentimes residue in the corners of these reed slots. Now you might say, why did I do this when I still have the reed plates on? Because see, the screw heads, they stick up and they'll hold the reeds off the wood. And of course, I always work with wood, on some kind of wood, because it won't scratch anything either. And you can see that this plastic is doing a good job of cleaning this up. Okay, we can see now that we only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bad breath savers. And it's also interesting that he made a larger lanyard grabber there. He actually made it and put it in with a peg. He's a very skilled workman, and very impressed always with his workmanship. These screws are not in here the way the factory did. They're too tight, so this was again a lie on the part of the other owner. He did take it apart and he put these screws in with more torque than the factory would. I would say somebody might or might not tell the truth as regards what they did to their harmonica. I am going to go ahead at this point and grab a pen. I always like to clearly identify bottom and top reed plates when I'm working on a harmonica. Just a T and a B. They're not very noticeable, really, but I like to do that. These don't have to be real tight. You know, the reed plate screws, they don't need to be very tight to do their job. They need to be a little bit more than snug. By taking it fully apart, I can inspect the breath savers that are on the underside, which I want to do for him just to see what we've got. And we can see that this is in perfect condition. So we're in good luck there. And I have this, which is the screw, and that was the slide spring. Now, if you want to get these out, you can just pull them out like that. In this case, to get this one out, you do have to remove this screw. And that will enable this to be removed. And I'm taking them out because they need to be cleaned. They're filthy. Harmonica needs to be cleaned on a regular basis. I don't believe he did too much with this after buying it other than just a couple of test things. So he wasn't the one that left it filthy. It was the other owner. But at least this way I'll have the harmonica totally broken down. And we will be able to give him, a thorough examination of the entire instrument. I probably could have just soaked the comb with the reed plates on it, but I wouldn't have been able to do the inspection of the breathsavers the way I could do if I took it apart. So it's always a good idea if you're doing a job to try and do as completely as you can. And we've come to our last screw. You see the comb's in perfect condition. The breathsavers are in great shape. It was the theory of Russ that the guy had grabbed the harmonica from the other side, and I would say based on the fingerprints I can see that that was exactly what did happen. So he was correct. The next step will be to thoroughly clean everything with detergent and water when it comes to the mouthpiece components, and probably water only on the reed plates.